All right, future doctors, listen up. What if I told you that the secret to absolutely crushing the NEET Physics section? Well, it isn't some super complicated hidden concept. Nope, it's something you've actually been using for years. Today, we're going to take that tool, basic algebra, and turn it into your absolute physics superpower.
So just think about this for a second. Seriously, what if just 4 simple, elegant algebra tricks were the key to cracking a massive chunk of the numericals that are standing between you and your dream score?
Yeah, you heard that right. 50%. We're talking about potentially half of all the physics problems you'll face just boiling down to these core algebraic techniques. And look, this isn't just about squeaking by with a passing grade. This is about walking into that exam with the speed and the confidence to totally master it.
So here's our game plan. We're going to build your algebraic toolkit one weapon at a time. First up, the time solver for motion problems. Then the simplifiers for those messy expressions. After that, the ratio breaker for tricky comparisons. And we've got a bonus visualizer to help tie it all together. So you ready? Let's dive in.
Okay, weapon number 1 is what I call the time solver. And its secret identity? It's the good old quadratic formula. Its main mission is simple: to find the exact moment in time something happens in a physics problem. So picture this, right? You throw a ball up in the air. The question asks, hey, at what times is the ball exactly 15 meters high? This is your classic projectile motion problem, and it's precisely where the time solver becomes absolutely crucial.
And here it is. I kind of like to call it the time machine formula. Now, I know it looks a little intimidating, but trust me, it's just a plug-and-play recipe. You just feed it the A, B, and C from your physics equation, and boom, it spits out the exact moments in time you're looking for.
So let's see it work. We identify our A, B, and C, we run the numbers, calculate the discriminant, and plug everything in. And look at that. We get 2 answers, 1 second and 3 seconds. This makes perfect sense physically, right? The ball hits that height once on the way up and then again on its way back down. Simple as that.
All right, moving on to our second weapon. Now, this is actually a 2-for-1 deal. I call them the simplifiers. And their job? To slice right through complexity and save you those precious, precious seconds in the exam. We're talking factorization, and one of the most important identities you'll ever see.
So when do you use which one? Well, think of factorization as your go-to shortcut when you've got a hunch the answer is going to be a nice, clean whole number. The a squared minus b squared identity, on the other hand, that thing is a universal key. It unlocks simplification in so many different topics.
Factorization is your rapid-fire tool. In topics like wave optics, maybe you're calculating the number of fringes or something. You're looking for a positive integer. Using the full quadratic formula here? Total overkill. Factorization gets you to the answer in a fraction of the time.
And here's a slick mental shortcut for it. For an equation like this one, just ask yourself one simple question. What 2 numbers multiply to get me -42 and add up to -1? You do a little mental math, and bingo, -7 and +6.
And that gives us the factored form directly. So the solutions are 7 and -6. But wait, you can't have a negative number of fringes, right? So the only answer that makes sense in the real world is 7. See how that works? It's not just about the math, it's about applying physical logic. Done. Solved in what, 10 seconds?
Okay, now listen closely because this next one is the king. Seriously, the king of all identities. This is completely non-negotiable. You have to get to the point where you can spot a squared minus b squared from a mile away. It shows up, it's everywhere. Electrostatics, capacitors, modern physics, you name it, often in disguise. It has to become a reflex, something you just see. For example, take a look at this expression you'd see when dealing with capacitors. It doesn't exactly scream a squared minus b squared, does it? But it's hiding in there. A is just q over the square root of c1, and b is q over the square root of c2. Spotting this lets you instantly simplify the whole thing, which makes your calculation way cleaner and way less likely to have errors.
Let's gear up for weapon number 3. This one's a bit of a secret weapon for a lot of students. I call it the ratio breaker. The fancy name is componendo and dividendo, and it's designed for one very specific but very common type of problem.
You pull this bad boy out when a problem gives you a simple ratio, like a over b, and then turns around and asks for the ratio of their sum to their difference, so a plus b over a minus b. You see this pattern pop up a lot, especially in wave optics with intensity ratios.
And the rule itself, it's just beautifully simple. If a over b equals c over d, then the ratio of the sum to difference on the left side is exactly equal to the ratio of the sum to difference on the right side. That's it. Just burn this form into your memory.
Let's see it in action. Say the ratio of two intensities is 9:1. What's the ratio of their sum to their difference? Instead of a bunch of messy algebra, we just apply the rule to the numbers. So, 9 plus 1 divided by 9 minus 1. That gives you 10/8, which is just 5/4. Literally one step. Problem solved. It's like a magic trick.
All right, for our bonus round, let's switch gears a little bit. We're moving from pure calculation to visualization. This is all about seeing the physics behind the math, and honestly, graphs are the absolute best way to do that.
So here's the big idea, A ton of the formulas you're memorizing in physics are really just famous math equations wearing a physics costume. And if you can learn to recognize the graph underneath, whether it's a straight line or a parabola, you start to get this much deeper gut feeling for the physical thing you're actually describing.
Just take the classic kinematics equation, V equals U plus AT. That is just the equation for a straight line, y equals mx plus c. So what does that tell you? It tells you that if you plot velocity versus time, the slope of that line is the acceleration. The graph isn't just a pretty picture, it's packed with physical information. The exact same logic applies to the parabolic path of a projectile.
Okay, we've gone through and assembled our toolkit. So let's do a quick final briefing just to lock in your new battle plan for absolutely owning NEET Physics.
Here they are, your 4 essential algebra weapons. You've got the quadratic formula for finding those critical moments in time. You've got factorization for lightning-fast integer answers. You've got the a squared minus b squared identity, your master key for simplification, and of course, componendo and dividendo, your secret weapon for all those ratio problems.
And please remember, these are not just some abstract math tricks you have to memorize. They are practical, powerful tools, and they're designed to make you faster, more accurate, and way more confident. They are your keys to conquering the physics section. So the only question left is, which one of these weapons are you going to pick up and master first?